Well, just when Seattle sports fans needed it most, the Seattle Mariners delivered some great news last night, just hours after the Seahawks dropped a frustrating, aggravating loss to the Rams by 2 points in LA to slide out of first place in the NFC West. The Mariners dropped a big bomb of their own, at least Jeff Passan did on their behalf, announcing that Josh Naylor is coming back to the Mariners. 5 years. There are other reports the deal's going to be right around $20 million potentially average annual value. We don't know if there's the fifth year is an option, if there's any opt-outs included, but none of that matters. Josh Naylor is going to man first base next year for the Seattle Mariners and for the foreseeable future. A huge start to the beginning of a crucial offseason as they look to get back to being close to the World Series, trying to break that long drought. And I have a very special guest today to help me break it all down. Rob Guerrera. If that name sounds familiar to you, yeah, you've probably heard him and seen him on my show, Seahawks Forever, talking about the San Francisco 49ers. He is the leader of the Gold Standard Network. We also have a spinoff show weekly called the NFC West Mixtape, where we take a look around the entire division. He also, though, is a diehard Mariner fan, and he's going to give his thoughts about the Naylor signing and the impact that may have, and a very interesting answer on his part about what this might signal about Mariners ownership. Before we get to that conversation, though, check out that website down below, nwforever.com. It stands for northwestforever.com. Subscribe to the channel while you're sitting here watching this, if you would, please. Trying to grow this to that 1,000 subscriber mark and go from there. In the meantime, this is non-monetized. You're not going to have to sit through any YouTube ads here. But if you want to support me as an independent full-time content creator, there's a couple different ways you can do it. That QR code right there allows you to buy me a beer or a coffee. But if you go to nwforever.com, takes you to my Patreon where all of my content lives. Seahawks, Mariners, video, audio, Substack, everything all under one roof for one low price. Check that out if you would. In the meantime, let's talk Josh Naylor and the big Mariners signing announced yesterday, hoping to be finalized today. Here's a conversation between Rob and I. Well, normally when you watch Rob and I or listen to Rob and I talk to each other, it's about football. It's usually about the NFC West on the mixtape, or it's about the 49ers. Wait, which way? That way. Or the Seahawks. But today he is a passionate, lifelong Mariner fan also. And before and after we record all of those shows, we're talking baseball. Well, we have good reason to talk about it today because the Mariners did Seahawk fans a big favor last night and cut through the mood after the Rams loss with some big news. Josh Naylor coming back to the Mariners, what sounds like a 5-year deal, somewhere in the range of $90 to $100 million, taking a physical today, and then it will be final. Rob, did you think this was actually going to happen?
No, not at all. Not only did I not think it was going to happen this soon, I didn't think it was going to happen at all, to be honest with you. I had no faith in this organization to do a move like this. And I'm stunned that Naylor, it wasn't just talk. We hear a lot of guys say how much they like playing in Seattle, but then when they have a chance to come back, they don't do it because they get more money elsewhere. People with options generally don't choose the Mariners. And yet here we are with Josh Naylor. And I think this is so big, Dan, because yes, he's a good player and all of that. And what his skill set is, helps in a lot of ways. But I really think that his personality in the clubhouse, I think, was a huge factor. He's not in the bubble, right? He came from outside the organization. And, I think with this organization, I don't want to say like you're walking on eggshells, but like there hasn't been a culture of winning. There hasn't been the Mariners can make the playoffs. Yeah, the Mariners can make the World Series. That's what Josh Naylor brought. He brought a bleep you. Why not us? We can do this. Yeah, it's the middle of the playoffs and I'm on second base. And guess what? I'm sick. I'm tipping the pitches because bleep you, we want to win. They don't have that. Julio's a nice guy. He's intense, but he's a nice guy. Cal's the heart and soul of the team. You need an a-hole, so to speak. And Josh Naylor is an a-hole, and it's great.
And not just an a-hole, but there was a black hole in this organization at first base. There's nobody coming. And so they had to do something there. If Naylor was going to spurn them for another offer, they were going to have to just pivot and probably go spend some money or some resources from their farm system to go get a guy. What was unusual about this, first baseman in this day and age in Major League Baseball don't get 5-year deals very often. It's the Freddie Freemans of the world that do. Even Pete Alonso last year had to settle for a 2-year deal with an opt-out after waiting all offseason. I did a show last week with Casey McLean, had some optimism this could happen, and here's why. Josh Naylor's not everyone's cup of tea. He's not your typical first baseman. He's got the bad body. There's some concern about how that's going to age, right? Is this going to be a Prince Fielder type situation where he's going to fall off a cliff once he gets over the age of 30? But it also felt like one of those situations that, for as much criticism as this organization and the ownership group has taken over the last few years, what do we hear from fans every offseason? Just overpay. Get that guy, right? They made a huge offer a couple of years ago to Trevor Story, $140 million, something like this. But they can't attract free agent hitters to this organization. This felt like the perfect storm where they got a chance to acquire him at the deadline. They were aggressive in going out to do so before the deadline. And it gave him the opportunity to experience the ballpark, to experience the fan base, to get a feel for what was going on here. So they didn't have to start from zero in attracting him in the offseason. This doesn't happen if they don't get him before the deadline, does it?
Yeah, it's a good point. Players that are here always talk about how great it is, how much they like it, and how different it was from what they thought it was going to be before they came to the team. And then they experience the fan base and the love that this community has for the players. I do think that is a significant factor in all of this. You're right. I didn't think of that until you brought it up, but it's a good point. Like they did what they needed to do to sort of overcome the stigma, so to speak, or maybe the conventional wisdom when it came to the Mariners and playing in Seattle.
Yeah. And this is a guy they've liked for a while. They tried to acquire him in the offseason before he ended up going to Arizona. The other thing I think that's notable about this is it's the way he plays the game, that they needed more of this. And they're not done now. I mean, now that the real work begins in lengthening that lineup, he's a guy that gets on base a little bit more, hits a little bit more for average. It was a specific shift he made in his approach a couple of years ago. He could hit more home runs, but he would do it. He would sacrifice on base to do it. The Mariners need more of this, don't they?
Yes, they absolutely do. And he doesn't strike out as much as the other guys in that lineup, too. They needed somebody like this. And we saw, especially in the playoffs, just tough at bat after tough at bat, grinding out pitches, working pitchers' pitch counts up, fouling off, just spoiling pitches to stay alive. He's exactly... If he's on your team, you love him. And if he's against you, you hate his guts for all the personality stuff we mentioned and just the type of hitter that he is. Bringing all of that. It's all good. And the fact that, number one, he says he likes to hit at T-Mobile. And number two, his career numbers bear that out. I believe he's an over 300 hitter in 40-plus games at T-Mobile. So all that stuff factors in. This was a no-brainer, and I know it's not official because he's got to go through the physical and all that stuff, but I'm so glad that this is done. I mean, have you looked, Dan, at the first baseman that this organization has had since John Olerud left in 2004? Let me read you the list.
Yeah.
Of the opening day first baseman, because I actually went back and looked, and it is comical. Richie Sexson, Russell Branyan, Casey Kochman, Justin Smoke, Logan Morrison, Adam Lind, Danny Valencia. I don't even remember. Ryan.
Who that is.
Who the hell is Ryan Healy? Jay Bruce, Evan White, Ty France, and Rowdy freaking Tellez. That's been the opening day first baseman since Olerud left, man. We never had this. This is a solid offensive player, a solid defensive player, and I have not seen this since John Olerud in 2004.
Justin Hollander, the GM of the Mariners at the GM meetings over the weekend, said that their intention this offseason was to run it back, to essentially try to bring back as much of this core as they could. Now, I don't think that includes Eugenio Suarez. To me, it makes no sense to bring him back. But now the next guy on the list might be Jorge Polanco, and it does sound like there is some interest there. Now, I've kind of gone back and forth on this. I'm not sure where his defensive fit is. And I don't think it's as simple as just saying, well, he can DH. I think you need to keep that spot available. They've got to lessen the wear and tear on Cal Raleigh having to catch as much as he does. They've said they're committed to Harry Ford and playing him on a regular basis this year. I don't know how that happens unless you're kind of rotating him into the DH spot as well. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to block Cole Young at second base. How would you feel about the fit of Jorge Polanco if they can get that done?
Yeah, because here's the thing with Polanco. If he's healthy, he can flat out hit. We know this. But the chances of him staying healthy if he has to play a significant amount in the field are really lessened. You really would have to rotate him at DH and give him some time off. And like you said, I don't know that they can do that. And to be honest with you, I mean, this is, maybe you think this is radical, but I don't want them to go with Polanco at second base. Give me Cole Young at second base. Give me, I don't know why I can never remember his name, Colt Emerson at shortstop. I want off the JP Crawford train.
Yeah.
So I would rather see them go Young up the middle, particularly defensively, because Polanco, for all his prowess at the plate, is not a plus defender at second base. It would hurt to lose him for sure, because he had a lot of big hits, even before the playoffs, some big home runs for this team too. But I just think that you don't try to do an imitation of yourself in 2026. You don't have to, build it the same way you did in 2025. Dude, some really good pieces are there, and that's awesome. But to just try and bring everybody back, I think that would be a mistake, because it's a different team year to year. You never bring back the same team, even if a lot of the players' names remain the same.
I'm with you on the JP thing. Sounds like they're committed, though, to having him be the opening day shortstop next year. At least it is the last year of his deal. And it sounds like they're open-minded about potentially playing Colt Emerson at third base, at least until JP is finished, and then they can slide him over. That's another hole. Third base is something that they would have to solve. It's unfortunate Jorge Polanco can't play third base, or it sounds like they've given up on that plan, because that was the idea early last year. Man, if he could, that would kind of be a problem that would take care of itself. The end of last year, we saw the offensive surge after the trade deadline. A lot of that was spurred by the bottom of the lineup. Dominic Canzone was hitting really well. Cole Young, it was before he kind of fell off a cliff at the end of the year. And Randy Arozarena was having the best year he's had in quite some time, until he really went cold when it went into the playoffs. While I've got you here, the Arozarena thing is interesting. He's due to make about $18 million in arbitration this year, in the last year before free agency. He was kind of a non-factor in the playoffs, at least at the plate. Is that the lasting image you stick with, or is it how much he contributed during the season? Would you look to move him if you could, potentially then go acquire an outfielder that is a higher on base guy?
Yeah, the outfield for the Mariners, I think there's a lot of questions there. Arozarena in left, Robles in right. What do you do with? Are you confident in that? I don't love Dom Canzone. I know he had a much better year than we thought he was going to have, but like in the playoffs against the elite pitching, it was a black hole. The bottom of this lineup was a black hole, and you cannot have a third of your lineup basically give you nothing. I think we're at the point now where when you think of who Seattle puts in their lineup, you have to think, what can they do in the postseason? It's not just about getting us back to the playoffs anymore. Randy Arozarena was a perfect player to get you back to the playoffs. He really struggled in the playoffs, which is kind of unlike him. I'd be open to moving on, but I would much rather keep Arozarena than Robles or Canzone or Luke Raley in the outfield. Like, Randy would be the one outfielder I'd probably want to keep next to Julio.
Let's finish with this and kind of tie a bow on it. As important as this move was to the 26-man roster and the team they're going to field next year, does this say enough to you about ownership's commitment now to paying what it costs to put? And I'm not talking about, a $250 million payroll. All Mariner fans wish that they would spend $200, $300 million on payroll. That's not going to happen. But does this signal to you, at least give you more confidence that ownership is committed in a different way to keeping this thing going and getting this team to the World Series?
No, God, no. I will never believe that.
That's going to be your answer.
With this team, I mean, look, I'm going to be honest with you. Going into last season, I was as low on the Mariners as I ever have. They did nothing in the offseason. They brought back Jorge Polanco, which I thought was a horrible move at the time, because he had been so banged up and so bad with us the year before. And then all of a sudden they go on this incredible run. But that is not how teams that are committed to winning and winning in the long term operate, right? That this team has told us time and again, don't worry, when it's time, we'll spend when it's time. And then they keep pulling the rug out from under us. So to me, this is, Lucy and the football and Charlie Brown. It's a great start. No question about it. But you're asking me if that gives me faith in them? No. Trust is earned in drops and lost in buckets. Okay. And this is one drop in that bucket. Keep it going, Seattle.
Bonus question before I let you go. I lied earlier. You're on the East Coast. You're in kind of the populace of the nation. Your thoughts on the MVP vote, Aaron Judge winning out by a slim margin over Cal Raleigh.
I understand it either way. If you're asking me who had the better offensive year, there's no question it's Aaron Judge. He did have the better offensive year, but also Cal Raleigh is a much, much bigger contributor on the defensive side of the ball. I actually saw a breakdown of the votes. It wasn't the East Coast that hurt Cal. It was actually the Central Time Zone.
Yeah. Texas.
That really did not go for him. I think in any other year, he probably wins the MVP hands down, but Aaron Judge is a thing. He's really freaking good. And let's be honest, MVP has always been about purely offensive numbers. It is never, Omar Vizquel ain't winning the MVP, even though he was a damn good shortstop. It doesn't happen. People can't quantify the value of that side of the performance for a player like they can with offense. We know the value of hits, of average, of RBI, those things like that. Defensively, it's like, yeah, Cal Raleigh makes some incredible throws, picking people off, doesn't allow a pass ball. They don't know how to quantify that stuff. So I understand it, even though I am bummed that Cal has this historic season and basically walks away with bupkis.
Well, that's Rob Guerrera. Now you know that he knows baseball. Ignore all the 49er stuff in the background. We'll be talking about football again together soon enough. Maybe we can get you a Mariner hat to throw up there, because Rob sees the value of a good thing. He knows this channel is going to blow up and be massive, so he's getting in on the ground floor. Rob, thanks for spending some time.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, you guys, thanks for watching. Again, if you would help the channel grow, we're in the early infancy here. Hit that subscribe button if you would. And if it's your first time here, go back a couple of weeks, take a look at the video I did with my full off-season plan. I get into detail here about how to best spend that $165 million we believe the payroll is going to be. And the first part of that plan was re-signing Josh Naylor. So what else do I have the team doing? We'll go check that out, and then we'll compare it to what happens over the offseason. Some work left to be done by the Mariners. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Until next time, forever and always, go M's.